Hey guys, Mike Mandel here with Chris Thompson, and we have a tremendous interview right now coming up with James Tripp. And we have, some of you who've been following us for a few years know that we have been burning scripts left, right, and center. We've been destroying idiotic training and ludicrous beliefs about hypnosis, and we created a hypnotic storm that's been raging worldwide. And in keeping with that, we have been inviting the very best trainers to Toronto to teach the people in Canada and everybody who comes in from around the world to study at University of Toronto with us. And in keeping with that, we had Carl Smith, we had Melissa Tiers, and now we are bringing the legendary James Tripp to Toronto, and it's going to be an amazing weekend.
Welcome, James.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me on.
All right. So the weekend that we've got set up that we want to spend some time talking about, it's September 22nd and 23rd in Toronto, 2 action-packed days with you, James. And for those of you who are unfamiliar, hypnosiswithouttrance.com. They shouldn't be unfamiliar for too much longer because you've got an active YouTube channel, tons of videos, tons of amazing resources. And as you know, I think you know, I'm one of your customers. I bought your course. Oh, I can't remember the name of it now. It was the audio course. It's many, many, many hours, and it's phenomenal.
Yes, that was the first thing I put out, and it's called the Hypnosis Mastery Program.
That was it. Yes, it's absolutely brilliant. It's just so full of some of the best hypnosis training that I've seen, and I've seen lots of different stuff from different trainers. So that's why I know that this is going to be an amazing weekend. Where do you want to start? You want to talk a little bit about, for a couple of minutes, just your background, how you got interested in hypnosis and what makes what you do different. Then we can spend some time unpacking what's going to be covered over those 2 days.
Yeah, for sure. I'm very happy to do that. This is something I've been thinking about a lot over the last few days, because there's kind of 2 stories as to why I got into hypnosis. And one of them is a pragmatic story. It's about learning skills that I thought would be useful in life. And hypnosis seemed like at one point a skill that was going to be very useful in life, and indeed has turned out to be very useful for me, not just professionally, but in my personal life as well. So there's this kind of pragmatic side. I learned hypnosis because it looked like if I could do these, if I had these skills, my life would be better. And that's sort of the bottom line on that one. But on the flip side of that, there's this pure kind of irrational passion interest thing. It's just interesting. It was phenomenally interesting to me. What is going on here? It remains phenomenally interesting for me because it's one of these things. I think, the deeper into it you get, the more nuances you uncover, the more terrain there is to explore, so to speak. So, those are the 2 reasons I got into hypnosis. I was going into NLP first, really. I got into NLP first, and I got into NLP because I wanted to be able to do what Darren Brown did. I saw him on TV. Yeah, I saw him on 2001, I think it was, maybe 2002, on just after his first TV special. I'm like, whatever that guy's doing, I'm going to learn to do that. And of course, at the time, he was framing a lot within a sort of NLP frame, or that was, it was implied that a lot of that was what was going on. Obviously, there's more to Darren than meets the eye in that respect, but nonetheless, it got me kind of on the path, and it's certainly a path that's changed the course of my life.
Fantastic.
That's fantastic. And I'm really intrigued, James, that you're going to be teaching on producing phenomena, because this is something near and dear to my heart. I think this is crucial. I find so many hypnotists worldwide, even those who are not script readers, who are experimenting with language patterns and so on, are afraid to produce phenomena in case it doesn't work.
Right.
Let's talk about that for sure.
Yeah. And it's a huge thing. One of the things that's always hugely important to me is that people walk away from the trainings that I do with a different attitude, a different mindset, and a sense of, do you know what? Actually, this is not a big deal. This is not a difficult thing to do. I can do this. So, in a sense, I've often joked and said my workshops are therapy for therapists in a lot of ways, because they come on with all sorts of fears and baggage around, what if I go for this phenomena and it doesn't work? And really, there is nothing to be afraid of. A lot of the time, what that comes from is it comes from sort of unconsciously held attitudes that the hypnotist brings to the table. it's to do with where they're coming from. It's almost like I often say, be careful what you bring to the feast, because that's what you're going to eat. So if you bring a lot of hang-ups about failure and this kind of thing to the table, then failure is often what can come about as a result of that. But if you show up and you go, do you know what? Here's an interesting thing. Here's an interesting human being. I'm going to find out what's possible with this person. I'm going to share something with you here, which I love, and I share with a lot of my students. And it's something that Milton Erickson was alleged to have often said when clients came along and said, Dr. Erickson, can you help me stop smoking, or can you, help me lose weight or overcome this fear, or whatever it might be. And Erickson would turn around to the client and say, I don't know, but I am curious to find out what's possible for you.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Right.
Talk about a way to inspire curiosity.
Yeah, and this is the thing, because I think if you show up, the way I show up when I'm working with clients, my view is very much, here's an interesting puzzle to solve, right? It's like a big Rubik's Cube for me. Mm-hmm. So, the point about doing a Rubik's Cube or a puzzle is it's supposed to be fun and interesting, and you sort of crank around, you figure bits out and stuff like that. If you don't even twist the cube because you're thinking, oh my God, what if I don't get it right first time, or anything like this? I mean, it's crazy. So you do a puzzle, you make mistakes as you go, and you just correct. You just make the next twist of the cube. So, when it comes to therapy and change work, that's very much my view. When it comes to phenomena work, it's the same kind of thing. It's a puzzle. What would need to happen for this person to experience this effect or this experience fully and completely in this moment? What personal adjustments need to take place?
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, go on.
I was quick interruption then is, so the phenomena work that we're going to be doing on that weekend, it's not going to be some sort of, here's a set of rules that you just lead people through this particular ladder of action and boom, you're going to be teaching people how to calibrate, how to elicit what to do next to unlock that model in their particular mind.
Absolutely. I mean, you mentioned in the beginning about tearing up scripts or burning scripts. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, we say both.
Right. It's kind of funny because I've just been editing a video this afternoon, which is on what I've called the 4 levels of learning in hypnosis and NLP. I'm focusing mainly on hypnosis here, and it overlaps with Gregory Bateson's levels of learning, and his levels of learning go level 0, level 1, level 2, level 3. And level 0, this is like no learning at all, really. It's just no learning. And this is what a lot of people teach under the guise of hypnosis skills. They teach, they don't even teach the skill. They give someone a sort of a book of scripts or something and say, there you go, off you go. And like scripts just, they don't hypnotize people. Or if they do, there's a lot of luck involved because, as soon as we're dealing with live human beings here with their own quirks, their own idiosyncrasies. So the thing about this stuff for me is it's about sitting down with somebody and engaging with them. You connect as one system and steer them into the experience that you want them to have, that they want them to have. Because I'm not about dominating people and bullying experiences, And the fact of the matter is people can do this stuff. Everybody can have interesting experiences. Everybody can move their minds and shift their experiences in a variety of interesting ways. There is not a human being alive who cannot do this. So far as I'm concerned, it is this Erickson thing. It's let's find out what's possible for you. Let's get in, let's explore. So I teach people, I often call it the precision elicitation of hypnotic phenomena, because I am about like little precise adjustments, little details, steering things in bit by bit by bit until somebody gets a powerful experience. But that doesn't mean that you get to pick in abstract any kind of experience, specifically define it, and then make someone have that. It's about co-creating with them something that's going to blow that.
I love it. So you're sort of, it's like walking through a labyrinth or a maze with them and determining what the two of you, what you find together and where you can go from that.
Absolutely.
This is really great. So it's not like we're going to walk in on the Saturday morning and you're going to introduce, okay, guys, here's how you do a hand stick now. Here's how you do name amnesia. It's not like that at all. It's about working with the individual.
Working with a human being.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so far as I'm concerned, I sit down with somebody, it's their mind that's going to create this.
Yeah.
and their mind can create this, whatever this turns out to be. And different people are going to go further, what I call up the hypnotic ladder. They're going to climb higher up the hypnotic ladder than others. But ultimately, you're going to be able to get something happening with everybody who wants something to happen, who's willing to show up and engage with the process. Again, this isn't mind control. It's an invitation into an experience that can be very powerful and very profound for people.
Right. And so then the second day, James, we're going to be looking at change work?
Right, because I think everything we've talked about so far, that's really the day one content, right? So change work. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, change work, this is a deep rabbit hole for me. This is the thing that I do mostly with my hypnosis skills. So I work with private clients. I also work for a charity here in the UK. I'm one of the coaches for a charity called Rock to Recovery UK, and we work with military veterans who are transcending post-traumatic stress and adjusting to civilian life. There's a lot of identity shifting stuff that goes on here as well. So, one of the things for me is I'm aware through working with what can be quite a challenging demographic there versus also working with private clients who self-select because they have seen me or they want to work with me versus some of the military guys who've been dragged along their wits' end.
Right.
That change work, again, whilst there can be a lot of useful techniques and tools in change work to sort of reach the higher levels, so to speak. I'm not saying I'm at the higher levels, but I'm always aspiring to be at the higher levels. There's still this requirement for dynamism and working with live people. It's the same as with the phenomena work. It's just that sometimes the puzzle that you're cranking around here is a little bit more complex because people get wedded into the kind of self-hypnotic reality that they're stuck in, that they call their problem. So there's some artistry in moving minds. But what we've got here is we've got a one-day workshop. So there's only so far down the rabbit hole we can go. So what I've decided I would like to share is some of the tools that I find extremely useful and that I use a lot, what you might call my bread and butter tools or bread and butter techniques. Because it's something that we can kind of get into. We can give people in one day. They can go away. They can start using this stuff. I call it back pocket tools, by the way. I'm very fond of small tools that can make big shifts rather than having big unwieldy processes that may or may not go somewhere at the end of the session, if that makes a difference.
I love it. It's James, I think there's, and I'm sure you'll agree with this. I really agree with much, if not everything I've ever heard you say. Come to think of it, I can't think of anything I've disagreed with, including critical faculty instead of critical factor. But that being said, I'm a big believer in simplification. And there's this mythology that the more complex we can make something, the more intelligent we seem. And a pocket full of, just a few things, a Leatherman in your pocket, you can do a heck of a lot with hypnosis.
Right. Yeah.
It's sort of like, I know, Mike, for example, you're a big fan of using a deck of cards for mentalism effects, things like that.
Yeah, simple.
The amazing work that you can do with one small pack of cards, if you have the talent, that's the metaphor that I'm imagining here when James talks about back pocket tools. You don't need big, flashy things to really make a big difference in people's lives.
That's amazing. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I have a very, very simple approach in some ways too. I have a lot of tools, and I'm not obviously going to be able to share all the tools that I use in one day, but I have a lot of tools, and I'm a big fan of tools that are quick to implement, because I have a very simple philosophy in my change work, is people are either moving in a useful direction or an unuseful direction. They're either connecting with more choice or less choice. They're feeling better or they're feeling worse. It's very easy to calibrate. I want to be checking in all the time. A lot of the military guys I work with, they come in with stories of having worked with sort of more mainstream mental health care providers for long periods of time. And they've been through hell, maybe doing horrible trauma writing that's deeply entrenched their trauma far worse than it was when they started out. And they hear this story that, it's got to get worse before it gets better. As far as I'm concerned, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody leaving. Right. I don't want people leaving the session with me feeling cruddier when they came in. Right. I'm quite simple in that sense. I don't know what their future holds because I'm not Mystic Meg. I can't tell the future, but I can help somebody move to a better place by the end of the session and then invite them to find out what difference that makes in their lives. But what it means is I'm constantly checking in. It's almost like either of you guys wear glasses.
Yeah.
I used to. I got laser eye surgery.
I had laser eye surgery, but because I'm 65, I need glasses to read.
Okay, so you've been along. You've had eye tests done. You've been to like an optician and had eye tests.
Oh yeah.
Done. Right. So when they have what they'll do is they put for those who haven't, they put this kind of rack up on this sort of pair of frames that can hold these different lenses, and they've got a rack of all these different lenses, and they have you look at the vision chart, and then they'll make a guess on what might improve your vision. They put some lenses into the rack, the glasses rack in front of your eyes, and they say, is that clearer? Or not so clear, and you say,
that's right. They do the A/B. Is it better or worse? Right,
that's it. Is it better or worse? Right, and then they keep changing up the lenses and keep checking in. Is that better or worse? Is that better or worse? And until you get, that's better. Oh, there's not much difference with that one, and you finally get your prescription. This is your prescription you get at the end. Now, this is very much like how I do change work. I'm constantly making small differences, but checking in for difference.
Nice.
So I call it the difference that makes the difference principle. This is an idea that's big in the world of NLP, but it doesn't really get unpacked. One of the things I'm going to be sharing is my explicit difference that makes the difference pattern with people, which is a way of eliciting difference. If you've just used a change work tool, it's a way of eliciting difference and then taking that difference and amplifying it out, leveraging it out into an even bigger difference, hence the difference that makes the difference.
That's just fantastic. And the thing you're saying, the metaphor about working with the optician, the optometrist, that really resonates with me. This is going to be a heck of a training, James. I'm looking forward to this immensely because Chris and I, we found out rather than travel to see the best trainers, we just bring them to Toronto, then we get to take the class. So we will be studying alongside everybody else who shows up and learning from you, and really looking forward to this immense experience.
It sounds like, in a nutshell, what people are going to get is day one, you're going to gain some real confidence that you can do this stuff. You can create the phenomena. You can figure out what's going to work. So you'll be comfortable doing things like live demonstrations. And then on day two, it's really about change tools, which means you'll be confident that you can help people, and you'll feel more confident charging money for hypnosis work, building your business, growing your business. And as a result of this 2-day training on Saturday and Sunday, September 22nd and 23rd, you should walk away a much stronger hypnotist.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense, James?
Sure. It does. And there's something about that I want to say, because I remember a few years ago, I went on this big seminar here in the UK. I won't say he was running it, but it was a marketing seminar for coaches and NLPers and this kind of thing. And it was just a room. There must have been, I don't know, about 200-300 people in the room. And I went around this room, and the big issue seemed to me from talking to people there wasn't that they lacked marketing knowledge. They may have lacked marketing knowledge, but that didn't really seem like the real issue. The real issue seemed to be that they didn't really have that much confidence in what they were doing. They hadn't had those tangible reference experiences that let them know, do you know what, I can do this. I can really help people move their minds. I can really help people make a difference. So I think the self-doubt ended up undermining people. And this is one of the reasons for me. I want to get people to a point where they go, do you know what? I can help people make differences, real differences that are going to make differences for them. Because when you know that you can do that, when you know it in your heart, everything changes with regard to the business side of things as well, because you just show up with a different kind of, forgive me for maybe using a bit of a flaky metaphor, but you show up with a different kind of energy that communicates something entirely different about what capable of.
And that's a huge enthusiasm unlocks the energy of the potential to grow your business. So that's just phenomenal. Okay, well, we've probably gone a little bit longer than we promised you that we would.
Great stuff, though.
So does it make sense to probably wrap it up here?
Yeah, that's so good. I mean, I could bang on about this stuff.
I know. Well, actually, so James, how about this in closing? You're going to be in Las Vegas, aren't you, for HypnoThoughts?
Yes, I am going to be there.
Well, then why don't we do another, like a version 2 of this in person on camera when we're in Vegas, and those of you who are listening will be able to look forward to that.
Yeah, I'm totally up for that, especially if it's outside by the pool.
Oh, I love that
got it.
idea.
You got it, buddy.
Fantastic. So for those of you listening in, make sure, I'm not sure where we're posting this, probably YouTube and all the other local places, but make sure that you check out MikeMandelHypnosis.com/James for the details on this class. It will sell out and it's going to be awesome. Mike and I are so looking forward to taking this class with you, James.
Fantastic. I'm really looking forward to coming over. I've been to Toronto before, but ever so briefly, just to get through to the falls and stuff like that. So haven't had the chance to check out the city yet properly.
We will have an absolute blast.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening and good night.
Good night.
All right.